Thomas Jefferson once said that the boisterous sea of liberty is never without a wave. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Christian Questions Talk Radio with your breakfast with Jonathan and Rick. The objective of our program is to discuss with you, our listeners, thought-provoking and meaningful topics based on the Bible. It's a call-in format. We are caller-friendly, and we'd like to hear from you. And Jonathan, what's happening here this morning?
Well, Rick, our question this morning is, in God we trust? And our theme text is found in Leviticus 25, verse 10. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land, unto all the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be a jubilee unto you, and ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family.
All right, and so we're talking about proclaiming liberty throughout the land. We're looking at American history, we're looking at the history of God's promises, and walking them down the road here and seeing what we can come up with. Before we get into all of that, though, let's get down to some items of business first.
Sure. Check us out on the web, christianquestions.net. You can listen live. There's a delay, so be aware of that. We have many archive programs to listen to, over 300, and use them for a personal Bible study. And if you have any questions and comments, it's a great place to contact us. Again, christianquestions.net.
Yeah, we've actually gotten some pretty good, really nice feedback from some folks on the web, so we encourage you to keep that up. We really like to hear from you. Be it positive or negative. Just let us know what you think. So, Jonathan, getting back to our subject, we've been dropping in here. We're beginning to look at some of the trail that American history has left us as to their deep, heartfelt, life-directing, godly trust that they had. And there's a lot of a trail here to get into. We had talked about a stained glass window in the chapel of the United States Capitol. I want to go on to the next piece, but before we do that, we do have a call.
Welcome to Christian Questions. This is Jonathan and Rick. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, it's Randall. How you guys doing?
Good morning,
well.
Randall.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, just got two things, and it's a lot, so I'm going to try to go quickly. On the moment of the edge of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln was leaving for Washington to become president, and part of his speech, he said, "Trusting in Him who can go with me and remain with you and be everywhere for good, let us confidently hope that all will yet be well." And can you imagine what an amazing expression of faith at that moment of peril for the nation?
Yeah, very good, very good.
And then I have Psalm 36, 6-7. Lord, your love reaches to heaven, your fidelity to the clouds. Your justice is like the highest mountains, your judgments like the mighty deep. All living creatures you sustain, Lord. And what that does is it shows us that because God has fidelity to us, and that's the key word in this phrase, in this passage, is that it shows that we should trust in His justice, trust in His judgments, and then when it says all living creatures you sustain, Lord, I mean, we trust Him just to keep us alive and to keep our planet in existence. And I think that if you combine those two things, with the Civil War and with, the disasters that happen, that God is always reaching out to us to trust in Him.
Great points. Thank you so much, Randall.
All right. Love you guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Appreciate your call. Boy, those good quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Both from Abraham Lincoln and then from the Scriptures. It gives a sense of... And when you see if you look at the life of Abraham Lincoln, there's a godly life there. I mean, the trust that he had to be able to do things in a world gone mad, and in a nation that was dealing with a very, very difficult problem and a very difficult situation, the abolishment of slavery, a very, very trying time, but truth won out in the end on that. So thank you, Randall, for bringing that up. Very, very appropriate here. Jonathan, let's get back to the trail. There is a trail that was left. Just like God's plan leaves a trail that we have to find the pieces of, there's a trail of godliness that was left. There's another picture here that you're looking at. What is it a picture of?
This is a picture of the Ten Commandments in the floor of the National Archives, and it's in brass.
Okay, so it's an inlay in the floor. This big, huge inlay in the floor of the National Archives building. You have a picture of the two tablets of the law, the Ten Commandments. It's huge. Okay, it's not this little tiny little 1 foot by 1 foot square. It's huge. This big inlay that you would see in the National Archives building. Okay, that's part of the trail. That's the God of nature that they were referring to. Next picture, Jonathan. What do you see?
I see a picture of Moses with the Ten Commandments in both of his hands.
Okay, and where is Moses? What's he doing?
This is at the U.S. Supreme Court.
On the back side of the building.
Yeah.
On the outside, where plain as day, you see this huge carving of Moses sitting with the 2 tablets of the law. U.S. Supreme Court, the Ten Commandments. You know, it strikes me funny when they try to take the Ten Commandments out of courtrooms, or out of court buildings, because you'd have to essentially tear down the Supreme Court. And you really would. And just because, as a matter of fact, what's the next picture that you see?
This is the Ten Commandments inside the Supreme Court's courtroom.
Okay.
And it's Moses holding the Ten Commandments.
Okay, so inside the Supreme Court's courtroom, you have another likeness of Moses holding the tablets of the law. Again, it just gives you a sense that there was something they were trying to tell us. They were trying to tell us that their attempts at setting law were based on something they saw as bigger than themselves, and that is a godly law put in place. And actually, why don't we've got a few more, but why don't we take this next call first?
Welcome to Christian Questions. This is Jonathan and Rick. Who are we speaking with?
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Max. How are you today?
Good morning, Max. Good.
Well, happy July 4th weekend. We celebrate this weekend the founding of the greatest nation ever to exist, in my opinion, on the face of the earth.
All right.
Which brings me to, and I ask this question to people all the time. They think I'm insane, but from what source do we derive our rights? In other words, where do our freedoms come from?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say, oh, well, they're in the Constitution. Well, no, they were just reiterating what our rights are.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, well, government gives us our rights. Well, any body that can take away your rights, they're not truly rights at all. They're privileges by definition. The Founding Fathers knew